Okay, so now we have our polished blank, it's time to form the petals. Now, as I said earlier, tulip petals are roughly spoon shaped, so I'm going to use a spoon to form the petals. The other thing I'll need is this. This is called a spoon dolly, and it's used by silversmiths to shape a spoon. They come in various sizes. This is I think the coffee spoon model. You can buy them in steel, but they're quite expensive, and these ones are hard plastic, and they seem to be perfectly adequate for what we're doing. Remember that we want the shiny side outside, so turn the blank over, and what I'm going to do is put the first petal into the spoon, so put the spoon dolly on the top, and then with a heavy hammer give it one blow. There we have it, our first spoon shaped petal. And just do that with the other 5. This again. Okay, now we have one somewhere which got a little bit bent on the side. That's there. So what we do, we can put our dolly in the vise. And using a plastic hammer just to take that out. This, by the way, is a jeweler's hammer. As you can see, it has 3 heads: a brass one, a steel one, and a nylon one. Once I'm satisfied with the form of the petals, the next stage is to slightly dish the central boss, and for that I'm going to use something that I stole from the kitchen again, this small measuring spoon, and as a punch I'm going to use this end of the ball peen hammer in there. So let's centre that over there. Hold it down the hammer, just give it a few light taps. This is not going to be easy. Okay, that's probably enough, otherwise the copper will start to crease here. You might be wondering how we're going to actually fix the petals onto the stem. Well, what I've done, I've made these little bosses out of 3/8 copper rod, drilled them out 1/8. I have slightly dished the bottom of them so that they'll fit better into the petals, but it's not really necessary. You could leave them flat. Then I've swaged them onto the end of the copper rod like so. Then they will go through the petal mass like that, and then I will solder the whole lot in one go using my massive soldering iron. To start assembling the flower, we first need to tin the copper boss and also the inside of the petals. So add some flux to the boss. And that one done. Time to make some leaves now. Tulips normally have only 2 leaves per stem, and although there are techniques around so that you can texture leaves using a hammer, tulip leaves actually aren't very textured. So all I'm going to do with this basic shape is to put a simple bend into the centre of it so that we get something like this. Then we can solder them to the stem and bend them at various angles and so on. So what I need to do is mount this in 2 pieces of angled iron in the vise so that it's gripped half and half. That's it. And with the help of a piece of wood, just bend it over. Like so. The advantage of this simple technique is you don't really need to anneal the copper. It will bend this much anyway. Okay, so take the protective layer off, if I can get it off. There we go. Then all I need to do is bend over this part here so that it will fit snugly around the stem for soldering. A little bit of trimming up with a power file. And there we are, ready for soldering. The next stage is to solder the boss onto the flower head so we can start to form the flowers. Yes, there are only 5 here because I've already made one without you seeing. It's best to support the flower in some way. I just use a piece of wood with a hole in it. The stem will go through like so. Open out the petals a little bit, take some more solder, and then very hot soldering iron, press on the top of the boss and wait until you see the solder start to melt. Many of the solder fluxes can be quite aggressive, and if you leave them on the copper they will corrode it and turn it green. So what I like to do is wash them in hot water after soldering. This will get it off. I think I said before, you should do all your final polishing before you assemble the flowers, because it becomes quite difficult afterwards. If you do have to polish at this stage, put something here to support the petals while you polish them, like so. This is the ball out of a tumble dryer, but a tennis ball or squash ball would do. Gives you a little bit of support so that you can do the polishing without breaking the petals off, like so. Not too happy with this one, which is why I'm repolishing it. If you're interested in a decent polish, I would recommend this stuff, Flips. It's easy to get in the USA, not so easy in the UK, but it is possible via our old friend eBay, of course. Once you're happy with the degree of polish on the flower, you can now form the flower head itself. And to do that, all you need to do is bend in every other petal to start with. So take that one, that one, bending them in from the base and bend them over until they touch in the centre, like so, and then do the same with the outer ones, bending them over so that they overlap the inners. Then give the whole thing a squeeze, and there you are, classic tulip shape. There are no hard and fast rules for fitting the leaves. I'm going to fit them in pairs with the tip of the top leaf just about level with the base of the flower. All that remains now is to clean up the joint a little bit, bend out the leaves to whatever attitude you want, and you're done. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 copper tulips.